Hi everyone! I am really looking forward to seeing you in not too long for our second session together, part of the Inspirational Leadership Lab and your work on becoming a more effective team of leaders. And I wanted to touch base to check in about your experiments, give you some tips if you're struggling with that, and give you a little preview of what we're going to be doing together when we meet next. So I know that you are super busy. It is completely possible that you have completely forgotten about the Inspirational Leadership Compass, the 5 areas of leadership that we talked about. Maybe you haven't made a dent in your experiment, and if that's the case, it's totally okay. We are going to get you back into it, and I want to walk you through just a quick refresher on the 5 areas of leadership and give you some ideas for simple ways to think about experiments if you are struggling with that. So the first component of the Inspirational Leadership Compass is purpose. And as a reminder, purpose-driven leaders are leaders who make decisions that are aligned and are grounded in their team and organizational values, mission, vision, etc. So they're actively using those tools to help guide decision making. So how might you do a very simple experiment? Because the goal with these experiments is that they are not overwhelming, they are time bound, you can do them relatively quickly, but they give you a chance to practice a new behavior, okay? So an example would be maybe you decided, you know what, I have never articulated what my leadership purpose is, and I'm going to spend 30 minutes with ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it to come up with a series of questions to help me uncover what matters most to me about leadership and the type of leader that I would like to be. And then I'll have ChatGPT help me refine that into a very short, pithy leadership purpose statement. So something like guide others to discover their potential, trust their voice, and lead from within, as an example. Okay, so that's one idea for an experiment around purpose. The second area that we looked at was energize, and that is really about energy management. Energy management is super important for leaders. Energized leaders are really aware of what they and their team need energetically to foster innovation and to keep up stamina in the pace of change and all the work that you're doing together. So if you're doing a good job with this, you're able to recognize signals of fatigue and know when to recalibrate and reconnect as a team to maintain momentum, or recalibrate internally yourself because you're catching lagging energy before you get burnt out. So an example experiment might be, maybe you decide, okay, I'm going to set a 60-minute deep thinking and strategy time on my calendar, and I'm going to protect it because I know that will help me move away from just powering through back-to-back meetings, but really protecting and owning some strategic thinking time. Okay, simple experiment. Simple, but maybe hard to actually get yourself to do because it does mean actually making some time on your calendar. Okay. Third area we looked at is influence. So influential leaders, they know how to leverage like the superpower of empathy to understand what makes their partners and executives and direct reports tick. So if you're doing a good job with this, you're probably strategically identifying and nurturing important relationships. If you recall, we did that sum of 5 exercise to help you think about which relationships are you spending the most time on right now, and is that aligned strategically with where you should be focusing your energy. So a simple experiment might be, maybe on your own you sit down for 30 minutes and you create an updated stakeholder map. Thinking about who is really influencing right now as relates to initiatives that you're working on. Or maybe you do that with your team. So the fourth area that we looked at was innovate. And this is really about fostering an environment where people feel safe and they feel supported enough to experiment, and where creativity and bold ideas just naturally thrive. So an experiment you might conduct would be, let's say you decide you're going to open a team meeting with a failure share. and you're going to invite others to do the same. You're going to make it safe because you're going to start with something you tried and failed at and normalize that as a part of creativity and experimentation. And last but not least, the fifth component of the Inspirational Leadership Compass was unleash. And this is about unleashing the leadership potential in those around you, because ultimately your success is in large part related to the empowerment of the people around you that help you get stuff done, right? So you might be looking for ways to streamline teamwork processes, looking for ways to remove obstacles from your team, or rewarding people who are embracing ownership and running with things, really taking agency. So what's an experiment you could conduct? Maybe you decide, I'm gonna ask one of my team members to lead a key meeting, and I'm gonna coach them on how to prepare, and I'm not gonna step in. I'm just gonna let them lead it, even if I'm tempted to. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some clarity on, or refresher on the 5 areas of leadership that we looked at, and then some ideas for experiments you might try if you haven't already done something. And of course, there's many other things you could do, but I'm hoping that gives you some fodder. So here's what we're going to be doing when we meet next. You all are going to come, and at the beginning you will be sharing your experiments. So I'm really counting on you to do something. Spend 30 minutes coming up with a leadership purpose statement. I don't know, whatever makes sense for you. But you're going to share that in groups, and you're going to talk together about what you learned from trying these new things out. So there'll be some cross-pollination, and my hope is that you'll get some ideas from each other. The second thing we'll do is I will share with you the results of the Inspirational Leadership team, or Inspirational Leadership scorecard. So I'll show you a summary of how has the whole team scored across those 5 areas as data and information for us, because the next thing we'll do is we're going to pick one of those 5 areas to focus on as a team. And we'll be doing some brainstorming and ultimately coming up with a team experiment, something for you all to work on together to try to improve the way that you are leading together in one of those 5 areas. So that's the plan. I also am going to send you a survey, and I would love for you to fill that out because it will help me to understand how you're doing with your experiments and get some ideas for other areas you might want to explore. It's going to help me to tailor the session to you. And that's it. So if you haven't done your experiment yet, just remember, simple, achievable, just something that's going to push you to experiment in one of those 5 areas. And I hope you have a good time doing it, and I'll see you soon.